Well, as a guy from Alabama who's son of 2 Alabama grads, just what's it going to be like for you getting to go play in that game and face Alabama?
Just another SEC game. They've been good, and always good to get a chance to go see a lot of people you know, just like when we were at Auburn. Hopefully, we have the same results as Auburn. That's what you're after, is just to play well and let it fall where it may. I've seen a lot of games in there. Watch Alabama play a lot, just like most SEC teams. Good team. Didn't play their best game last game. I'm sure they'll come out playing tough and ready to right some of their wrongs in this game. So we'll have to play a good game. We know that.
As a coach that is well aware of the metrics, the analytics, and stuff like that, now that you guys are starting to get some national attention as far as polls, how much stock do you put into that? How much do you care?
It doesn't matter at all, honestly. Because the NCAA tournament committee doesn't care about it, right? You'll see people that will be, the team in there now that's ranked, and if they had to come out the NCAA tournament brackets tomorrow, they wouldn't make the field. You know what I'm saying? So that's just how it is. I would put stock in the rankings if the NCAA tournament committee cared about it. So, all you can do is focus playing your best basketball. If you play well in this league, you're going to end up putting yourself in a great chance to be in the NCAA tournament and to obviously get the best seed possible. And that's what you're after.
I know the circumstances were very different, but kind of interesting that you might have Rashawn on Chris Bediako, and that both guys needed a waiver to be able to get into the season, just kind of the state of where college sports are right now.
Yeah. Yes, it's different. Two very different circumstances, obviously. But, it is what it is. We got to, we got to block out the noise or whatever people think about any of their players that are playing or not playing. It doesn't impact our team. Our team's got to be about us playing the best we can play. Whoever they line up across from us is who they line up across from us. I think that when we play well, we've done well. So I don't want to get too consumed with their good players and what they got as much as I care about our good players playing their best basketball.
What's playing the best look like on Wednesday?
I'm sorry, what was that?
What does playing the best look like on Wednesday?
Got to play good defense. You just can't let them get wherever they want. They can't get scored 1, 2s, and 3s on you. You're going to have to be able to guard them one-on-one the best you can. They're high-powered offense. They play well at home, and they can obviously get to the paint. They can make threes as well. So you got to do a good job of controlling the dribble so they're just not getting everything.
Look, we've talked before about some of y'all's limitations. The size and the height. I think you've even said you're not the most athletic team, and yet y'all keep winning. Is it a greater asset or do you explain it by saying that your guys understand their quote limitations, or maybe do they just don't know they have limitations?
Well, that's a good question. I would say that most importantly, I'll say in the reverse, they know what their strengths are. That's probably the best way to say it. They recognize where we are strong, and we play to that, and the players play to that, right? Which is we have depth, we can shoot it, we share the ball, and we can spread the floor. And because we have depth, we can play a full court game on both ends of the floor. And if we are smaller, we got to be tenacious, right? And we got to keep people out of the paint the best we can, and we got to game rebound.
Is that depth your greatest asset of this team?
Quality depth, and then I would say even though there are a lot of new guys, we are older. So, they have seen things, they're mature. And then when you can space the floor, we lead the SEC in three-point percentage in SEC play, which is obviously a game changer because it spreads the floor. So if you're small and can't shoot, you're in real trouble.
Was there a point in the season when the team kind of had to learn that with the pace that y'all play, that some kinds of leads weren't necessarily as safe as they normally would be? And is that something that they brought into that Georgia game and were able to withstand them coming back in that?
Yeah, I think that, the longer you're in something, you realize that we play more like an NBA team in high-volume threes, and so the variance is really high. And then we're obviously a pressure team, so the variance is high. Most importantly, I think you learned that you got to be able to be in such great shape to play hard for 40 minutes the way that we play. And I don't think that we were in the shape that you only can really get to playing multiple games after games, that you can play for 40 minutes at that level of intensity. And so, irrespective of anything, I think that you're not seeing us weaken late in these games. We're getting stronger late in these games now. Against a team like Alabama, who plays just as high variance offense, and they got a great offense, you could see swings. It wouldn't be anything for someone to be up by 10 and down by 20. That wouldn't be anything in this game. It's just that's the way that it is.
I feel like I saw a recent radio interview in Alabama with Mark Gottfried, and he said he tried to recruit you to Alabama for your last season of college. Just is that true? And if so, how close were you to choosing that route instead of going to Meadowbrook?
Yeah, it was interesting. I like Coach Godfrey. I was probably going to go if I went somewhere back to mid-major because I was recruited as a backup guard. I had an opportunity to go to some other place. I had Power Fives, obviously, of Alabama, Michigan, Southern Cal, those kind of schools. And then I had, more the level I played in the Big South. And then I had other schools at that level where probably would have finished my last year playing a ton of minutes. But if I went to a Power 5 school, I would have gone to Alabama. Yeah.
I've heard. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You got it.
Follow up. You're right.
I was just going to ask, what led you to choose to just go straight to coaching, and you feel like that ended up being the right decision?
Yeah, it's a wild deal how it all shook down. So we were kind of the first era of the transfer portal, and you had the option pretty much. We were the first to kind of get that year to see what happened. And more than transfer portal, just based on the school from Division I changed our last year. We were very good. We were co-conference champs right there regular season in our run there. Then the new president came in, wanted to change the school up. And so because of that, we got a free transfer if we wanted to take it. Nobody was doing that back then. So it wasn't like now where you go into a scenario where you got, like this year, 12 of the transfers. You're the one guy. And so the decision was, do I want to go do that or want to go play pro ball? I wouldn't be a high-level guy, but, go play pro ball somewhere overseas somewhere or go get into coaching. And so I had one more year left, and it was a tough decision. And my mindset kind of was I can always say I want one more year. If I went and played pro ball in Iceland, I could say, all right, let's go play one more year over here, then one more year over here, then one more. I'd come back here. I'm 37 years old. And so I was like, this could be my chance right now to get into coaching. And then I got into coaching and everything led to here. So it's just funny how life works, isn't it?
Bucky, I hear, and I've read people say since we found out you were being hired here, that Bucky McMillan is a basketball savant. When you hear that, you react saying, well, damn right I am. Or, what's your reaction when you hear things like that? When we're winning, great. When we're losing, I've heard basketball idiot too. So, it's just kind of how you're doing, right? When you're hot, you're hot. When you're cold, you're cold. I think that probably comes from a little bit that my career as a coach until Texas A&M was always in Alabama. So as a player, it was always in Alabama. I grew up there. Went to school in Alabama. Coached high school in Alabama. Then coached college in Alabama, right in the kind of the same area. And we played a little bit different. And we were playing how we play well before anyone was even really playing fast, right? Shooting a lot of threes, playing fast. So we were winning doing that when it was really, really different back then. And so I think that's whenever you do something different and you have success, you know how it is. First time someone lined up in shotgun, if they won the game, people are like, man, they're geniuses, right? We're not the only team in shotgun right now, but, hopefully we can keep winning.